Isn't it a great time to be governor of Georgia? So many good things going on. We were talking earlier, the #1 state in the nation to do business. We've had over a 500% increase in our rainy day fund.
Right.
Unemployment's dropped about 3 points under your governorship.
Right.
Back to my question, isn't it a great time to be governor of Georgia?
It is a great time to be governor. It's great to be in a state where you can actually get something done that benefits your citizens, and we think we have a great record that shows that. Over 250,000 new private sector jobs in the first 3.5 years that I've been governor, and those numbers continue to grow. The announcement here in Dublin today will add to those numbers as well.
The Second Amendment is really important to people in Lawrence County and Middle Georgia, and I don't think, correct me if I'm wrong, I don't think there's been a gun bill that's landed on your desk that you didn't sign.
That's correct.
Tell me why that's important to you.
Well, I am one of those that believes that that is a fundamental part of our Bill of Rights, and we are a state that takes pride in the fact we respect the Second Amendment. As you know, we signed a rather comprehensive bill this last session of the General Assembly. There have been some folks that wanted to criticize it, but I think the examples they use to criticize it are based on people who don't follow the law rather than those that this legislation affects, and that is those who go through a background check, who go through the process of getting a license, and therefore are authorized to have a weapon in their possession. So we think we have a great record for the state of Georgia on that issue.
Now, I know interviewing you in the past, the U.S. Army is the very core of who you have become. So veterans are very important to you, aren't they?
Yes, they really are. Having been a military veteran myself and served in the United States Army, I understand the sacrifice that not only the veterans make, but the families of veterans. And we've tried to be a state that's friendly to veterans. We realize that we're going to get a lot of veterans coming back as we see a downsizing of our military establishment. And if they come back to Georgia, which we hope they will, we're going to give them credit against our licensing processes. We're going to take their MOS that they had in the military and compare that with what our licensing procedures are in a variety of different areas and give them credit for that so that they can go back and be a civilian employee more quickly.
Explain something to me. Listening to your opponent on television, and I don't know a lot about politics, but he claims to be a 9th-generation Georgian. Now, I know he went to school in Chicago, lived up there a while. How does he become a 9th-generation Georgian?
Well, I think he was actually born in Georgia, but he was educated all the way through high school in one of the rich suburbs of Chicago. He went to college out of state, and then the first time I think he actually got any education in Georgia is when he came to law school at the University of Georgia. I contrast that with myself, who grew up in Middle Georgia. My parents were both public school teachers. They're both buried down in Bullock County, which is where most of us deals come from.
Right.
And I think that I have an even longer history of being native Georgians. My mutual ancestors on both my mother's and father's side came over in 1736 as the third boatload of Salzburgers that General Oglethorpe brought to Georgia. And they landed here, and most of them have stayed here the rest of the time.
Okay, next week we have the privilege of having you back again. You've been here several times since you've become governor. But we've got a big event next Tuesday we're looking forward to. Free barbecue, all the fixings. I know you're going to like that, aren't you?
I am. I certainly am. And I want to thank y'all for all the hospitality that you've shown me, not only coming up next Tuesday, but also the time that I have been your governor. This has always been a friendly place to come, and I appreciate that.
Last week I interviewed Mr. Jim Walters, the chairman of the Georgia Port Authority. Week before that I had Jimmy Allgood on with the Georgia Port Authority. With that in mind, how important is the Port Authority, not only to the state of Georgia, but to us right here in Lawrence County?
Well, having a port such as the Port of Savannah, and actually even the port at Brunswick, which is one of the larger ones that takes cars in and out of our country, having those is a great asset. In fact, the announcement that we had today of a fiberglass company that's going to be building their offices here and their manufacturing headquarters, they will use the port to export their product in various parts of the world. So it is just one of those additional assets that the state of Georgia has, and one of which we are very proud.
Why should someone watching us right now vote for you this election rather than your opponent?
Well, I hope they would understand that even during the Great Recession, that we have not raised their taxes, we have in fact cut their taxes, that we have balanced our budget, and we have become the best place in the country in which to do business, which means that not only our current citizens are going to get better jobs, but our future generations are going to have better jobs. I believe that I'm not going to have to run on promises. I will run on promises kept, not promises that somebody is making for the future. We have a great record. We've started things that I want to stay and see to fruition. We've had a number of reforms that we are in the early stages. Our criminal justice reforms will be a hallmark for states all across this country. They're already coming to Georgia and saying, how are you able to make these reforms? How are you able to reduce the jail backlog by over 90%? How are you able to save the state $20 million on just not having to keep prisoners in local jails when they would otherwise have to pay to do that? So I think we have a great record, and I just simply ask people, look at what we've done. We haven't made promises that we haven't kept. We are working to make everything better for our citizens now and for the future, and I think that's what government's supposed to do.
And just to follow up on that, we have the lowest taxes per capita of any state in the Union. How do we do that?
Well, by just simply resisting the temptation to raise the taxes. As you may know, part of the tax reform was to eliminate the marriage tax penalty on working couples. I think that's one of the better social policies that any state could do. We also, of course, have attracted jobs here by simply eliminating sales tax on energy used for manufacturing. And that has caused us to see manufacturers, both those that are already here, decide to expand, as well as those from outside deciding to come to our state.
Okay, final question. You have, of course, your beautiful wife, Sandra, we love.
Thank you.
You have 4 children, 6 grandchildren.
That's right.
Who runs the family?
Well, Sandra does. In fact, 2 weeks ago, we just finished up her grandmama camp with our 6 grandchildren. And we visited state parks. One of the real treasures of our state is to have so many fine state parks, and we wanted our grandchildren to see those.